James Corden banned from New York City restaurant for mistreating employees. And here's the thing. James Corden is probably one of the best examples of the worst type of filthy rich individual. And the reason why I say that, I mean, he's not like an Epstein, but he is filthy rich, thinks that he's above everyone else, thinks everyone is basically worthless in how he treats practically everyone. Like, practically everyone. Like, there have been so many different videos, clips, everything, reports about him just being a massive dick to literally everyone, right? And I think it's a little bit crazy because, like, where does he basically come up with the idea that his own crap doesn't stink and yet somehow he is above other people, right? Does he think that he's above other people just because he's a multi-millionaire due to a show? Is that the reason why he thinks that he's above everyone? Does that is that why he thinks that he's above people in the service industry? Like, it's just so beyond crazy. Like, it's like this guy has developed such a crazy ego that it's one of the reasons why there's so many people that dislike him. So many, right? So James Corden is no longer allowed to fill his guts at an acclaimed New York City restaurant. The Late Late Show host has been accused of boorish behavior by the owner of the posh Manhattan eatery, Balthazar, who dubbed him a tiny cretin of a man and banned him from dining there ever again. He's the most abusive customer to my Balthazar servers since the restaurant opened 25 years ago, said Keith McNally in a scathing Instagram post put up late Monday. Which, by the way, think about that for a second because this is in New York City, right? Where crime is rampant and people could practically just stab you and get away with it. And yet they're still, like, just kicking him down, right? Like, how much of like a rude individual was he to these people? I don't often 86 a customer till today. I 86 Corden. It did not make me laugh, he wrote. McNally accused Corden, who has admitted to having anger issues in the past because of his really weird inflated ego, of treating his servers poorly by demanding free items and yelling at them. And here's the thing, a good way to judge a person's character, like literally anyone's character, is how they treat people in the service industry. Period. Right? If you go on a date with someone and they treat a server, a waitress, or bartender, whatever, like a piece of crap, walk away from that individual as safely and as fast as you possibly can because that person has basically no moral character, like, at all, right? Because if you're basically going to belittle someone who's simply trying to do their job in serving you, it's just so crazy. So according to a manager's report, the first run-in with Corden happened in June. The funny man, although apparently a lot of people don't even think he's funny. Personally, I've never really seen any of his clips that made me laugh. But yeah, so the funny man allegedly ate his main course before showing a server a hair in his order. That is so beyond effed up. Get us another round of drinks the second, McNally alleged Corden demanded. And also take care of all of our drinks so far. This way I write any nasty reviews in Yelp or anything like that. Basically, I won't write, basically. Which is so beyond effed up. So you're basically a multi-millionaire. I'm talking about like a deca-millionaire or more so. He might even be close to a nine-figure millionaire, right? And you want free stuff because you're going to be a male Karen over nonsense that probably didn't even exist. Like, what kind of scumbag are you that you are filthy rich, you make it hard on the service employees, and you basically try to have your way in whatever it is that you want? It's basically like the way that I see it, this is basically like a spoiled rich kid that hasn't been ever slapped in the face by anyone ever. The second incident happened on October 9th, according to the Post. Corden, whose late night talk show has a recurring segment called Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts, reportedly called a server over to tell them that there was a little bit of egg, white, mixed with the egg yolk in his wife's omelet. The restaurant remade his wife's meal, but brought it to her with home fries instead of a salad. That was enough for Mr. Corden to yell like crazy at the server. That is so beyond effed up. One, why the hell do you necessarily even care about the mixing of the egg white with the yolk? Right? It's obviously not like you're trying to pay attention to your figure, right? It's obvious, and basically it's his wife's omelet, but let's like face facts. He's probably ate some of the wife's omelet. But the thing is like, where does he comes off? Like where does he come off treating the employees like this, right? It's just like people make mistakes, right? Employees make mistakes. You're always going to potentially make a mistake, right? Big, small, whatever. But you could have just said like, "Hey, sorry, but you gave us fries instead of salad. Can you change that?" "Oh, you actually got this kind of mixed up. Can you change that?" Like that's all you have to do. You don't have to be a dick, right? Like there's literally no reason to be a dick in this situation, right? Because if you were polite about it, the restaurant would be more likely to take care of you, right? He's like, "Oh, we're sorry we screwed up. Here, have this. Oh, we're sorry that we screwed up. Blah, blah, blah." Right? But if you just become like a straight up dick to a place, by the way, that you were already a dick to, it's just so stupid. "You can't do your job!" Exclamation point. "You can't do your job," he allegedly screamed. "Maybe I should go into the kitchen and cook the omelet myself." Well, then you're just going to eat practically everything inside the kitchen. The dining impresario said Corden also behaved similarly in my former restaurant, Cafe Luxembourg, a few years back. Corden has not responded publicly to McNally's allegations either on social media or to requests for comment from the Post, but in 2020 he admitted to having anger issues that he said started in the late 2000s when he first became famous. "I started to behave like a brat that I just don't think I am." Well, that's an interesting comment because you are a brat. Your actions, if this is apparently true, which apparently it did actually get confirmed in other like news stories, he's a brat. He's a filthy rich brat that thinks that one, he can get away with anything, and two, that literally everyone else that exists in this world, other than inside his circle, basically, or maybe even in his circle, are less than him, which is such a horrendous way to look at the world, right? It's like to look at other people like that is just so disgusting. It's so intoxicating, that first flush of fame, and I think it's even more intoxicating if you're not bred for it. He said that because of his behavior, he actually visited a therapist who he told, "I used to be a better person than this" during the first session. Except for, based off what a lot of people have said, he's always basically been a dick to the majority of people. His antics were alluded to that year by comedian Eric Andre, who told Vanity Fair while talking about cancel culture that James Corden is effed if being mean is the only criteria to get called out. So let's see some of the comments. I don't watch Corden. This is not the first time Mr. McNally has 86 a celebrity customer. If my memory serves me, it may be deja vu. I have been to Belisar a few times, not a celebrity. I have nevertheless received courtesy and good service. Poor service can be very upsetting, especially after a drink or two. That has never been the case at any of Mr. McNeil's places. McNally's places. What a creep. I judge people by the way they treat people in service. Exactly. Like this is basically like treating someone who works behind like the registry in like a McDonald's, right? And someone's just like attacking them or something. Like the person who does that to that individual, to that employee, is beyond messed up in the head. Looks like he could skip a few meals and did him a favor. Sounds like Corden was left walking in the streets of Soho in the rain. And he makes $30 million a year. Dear God, is that true? I really hope that's not true. That is beyond crazy. That his audience base would be able to justify that. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Let's see. Unbelievable. Chris Galante says, this fat, entitled one note clown, if he was of average wealth, he'd never open his mouth to anyone like that. Here's the thing, and this is the problem that a lot of people like James Corden have and will potentially interact with this issue. If he does this to someone who does not care about the consequences, James Corden is going to face a very dangerous situation, right? And what I mean by this, there are people that exist in this world that quite literally do not care about other people's lives, right? There are people that exist like that. And and if he treats someone like he treats basically everyone, but like if he treats the wrong person at the wrong time, like he does in these cases, it's not going to end well, right? Because again, this is basically someone who has never gotten into a fight, never basically got confronted, and if he does this to someone that literally does not care about his life, it's going to get real bad. This other person says, my daughter, who works as a waitress while attending college at a very low cost diner, would say that wealth has nothing to do with it. I agree. She worked in upper class place previously and was treated with far more respect than the cheaper diners she deals with now. Without the fame and money, a guy like him wouldn't have the stones. I'm talking more about this individual than rich people in general. Agreed. Yep. Another self entitled New York liberal. I don't understand how he became famous for being fat because he's not funny. This guy's a no talent, big mouth, fat slob. He should be banned from society. A lot of people don't like him, apparently. Let's see. Yeah, feel free to give your thoughts. Subscribe, hit the like button, whatever. Stay tuned for more commentary news or news commentary. But here's the thing, right? The best thing to like do when you reach like a financial position like James Corden is, where you're like a deca millionaire or potentially a centi millionaire, nine figures, is just be generous, right? You don't even necessarily have to be generous financially speaking, that you could at the very least treat other people like they're humans. Like that is the very least thing that anyone can do in their position, right? Like there's no reason for him to be acting like this at all, ever. If you want to learn how to get out of debt and grow your net worth, go down below.